Hey everybody, I'm Andy, and with IGP, I'm studying environmental and sustainability studies in Spanish. Um, I had the awesome opportunity to spend all of last year in Ecuador, studying in the Universidad San Francisco de Quito. And here I have some pictures of the campus and the view of Cotopaxi from my neighborhood. Um, yeah, Ecuador is an amazing place, especially for someone that loves nature and the outdoors and wildlife like I do. And for that reason was why I'm studying environmental and sustainability studies. Um, Ecuador's just awesome with how biodiverse it is. You have the Amazon, you have high mountains in the Andes, you have the Galapagos. Um, so it's kind of funny that since I got to school, even though I was so interested in wildlife and nature, I ended up focusing way more on the social political side of environmental studies, focusing on policy, activism, and sustainable development. And that's kind of where my internship was. So the main idea of my internship is what's called the Water Energy Food Nexus, and specifically, I conducted a literature review focusing on this framework in Latin America in the face of climate change, Latin America and the Caribbean. And yeah, just to explain to you guys super quick, the way I like to explain what the water energy food nexus is a framework for decision making in which you take into account all of the interdependencies between the three most critical resources, which are water, energy, and food. So obviously, for basic human needs, you need all three of these things on their own, but they're interdependent. So, for example, you need water to be able to produce food, and you need water to produce energy, especially using hydroelectric. But then at the same time, you need energy to be able to process and distribute water. And you need energy to be able to harvest crops and produce food. So what happens is if one of these resources becomes stressed, especially what we're seeing in Latin America and the Caribbean now is with drought, all of a sudden you have resource insecurity across the board, which in the case, especially in the case of Latin America and the Caribbean, directly results in economic insecurity and social insecurity and political insecurity. Which is a hot button issue for the region, as it would be anywhere. And the best example I can give you guys is right now, or actually, even when I was down in Ecuador, I saw just the beginning of an energy crisis because Ecuador is hyper dependent on hydroelectricity for power generation. And that's caused a lot of issues down the road with both people not being able to keep their businesses open, the government limiting its ability to function. So it's really important to understand these interrelationships. But awesome thing about my internship, I made my own schedule, so I worked out of my house. Here I am. This is my house that I worked out of if I had power and Wi-Fi. But then with that flexibility, I was able to go camping every weekend, so that was really awesome. Um, Again, with that flexibility, I got to spend a lot of time outside of academic context, outside of the classroom, and so you'll see the way I speak Spanish is definitely different than other people, and I think that was an awesome opportunity that I wasn't expecting. But yeah, that's what I'm going to talk about in my presentation.